you can hear me, guys. Oh boy. Okay. I'm here. I hope that you can hear me. I'm trying to get the other picture to come up, but for some reason it doesn't want to listen to me. Okay, let's see if it'll work now. Hi, I don't know what happened. Everything went crazy and now the Zoom will not load. Zoom is being a jerk now. I don't know why. So, hang on. No idea why the Zoom doesn't want to load. Can you hear me? Okay. Let me know if you can hear me. I'm waiting for the Zoom to load up here. In the meantime, I guess we'll just go on to we were talking about baby Amaya, okay, and why the mother seemed to have a set of twins. So I don't know what is going on there. But let's talk about the duck sauce killer. I'll put that image on and see if that will come up for you while we're waiting for Zoom to come back. And can you hear me? You can hear me. Let me see if the picture comes up. Hi, Flo. Hi, Debbie L. Okay, good. So we're just going to go on. The show must go on. So the duck sauce killer, you remember the delivery driver that got killed for not enough duck sauce, and in New York City, they found out the attorney for the widow of accused duck sauce killer Glenn Hirsch detailed decades of abuse he allegedly heaped onto Dorothy Hirsch in a new court filing that was aimed at getting gun charges against her dropped. Dorothy Hirsch was arrested on June 3rd after a search of her apartment found 8 guns that were stashed in her closet. She was arrested the day after Glenn Hirsch was taken into custody for the April murder of Chinese food delivery man Zwen Yan, who was 45. And that murder occurred over a long-standing dispute about receiving enough duck sauce in the order. Hirsch was released on bond after his arrest, and then he committed suicide in early August, just hours before he was scheduled to appear in court. Glenn's act of brutality against Dorothy before and during their marriage included sadistic and violent sexual abuse, striking, cutting, and menacing her with weapons, punching her, slapping her, threatening to kill her, extortion, and contempt, said lawyer Mark Vetero in the filings. The Hirsches lived in separate homes, and the weapons were found in a closet in Dorothy Hirsch's apartment where her husband stored items belonging to him. The DA knew before arresting Dorothy that Glenn abused her for years. That evidence obviously is relevant to her defense that she didn't know the guns were in his closet because she wouldn't dare question him or snoop through the junk that he stored there. It is regrettable that the DA would simply disregard the domestic violence history and refuse to disclose favorable evidence by coldly decreeing that it's not relevant. We are entitled to evidence they knew about before they chose to indict Dorothy for possessing what obviously were Glenn Hirsch's guns. Hirsch was accused of shooting Great Wall delivery man Jan in the chest in April and then speeding away in a Lexus SUV. The Great Wall's owner, Pai Young, said the dispute had been going on since November of 2021 when Hirsch complained about not getting enough duck sauce. Young offered him more packets, but Hirsch demanded a refund, and Young denied that. Police were called, but no arrests were made. In January, Hirsch allegedly went to the restaurant brandishing a gun. He was accused of damaging locks and vandalizing employees' vehicles. After Jan's death, investigators found a refrigerator filled with duck sauce in his apartment. Man, unbelievable. For duck sauce, right? So now we've had that murder-suicide in Maryland, and then another situation very troublesome in Michigan, where a 53-year-old Michigan man shot and killed his wife and dog and then badly injured his daughter early Sunday morning before he was killed by the police. Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard said that deputies arrived at the Walled Lake home shortly after 4 a.m. on Sunday, after Igor Lanis's 25-year-old daughter called 911. Bouchard said the daughter was so shocked by what had happened she couldn't tell the operator the address, forcing police to triangulate the location. I think she couldn't feel her leg, so obviously the injury is pretty substantial, Bouchard said. Police had arrived and were beginning their investigation when they heard another gunshot, and they moved in that direction only to see Lanis come out of the house and start shooting at them. They responded with deadly force. I think there was danger to everybody, Bouchard said. In fact, he had his keys with him when he engaged the officer and the deputy with the gunfire, so who knows where he was headed. Police say the daughter was trying to crawl her way out of the house when officers finally got inside. They found Lanis's 56-year-old wife shot 4 times in the back with a handgun. The daughter had been shot in the back of the legs. The family dog was shot multiple times with a shotgun. The daughter, who was also shot with a shotgun, was reportedly in stable condition after suffering super traumatic injuries to her back and legs. The family reportedly had another daughter living in the home, but she was not there on Sunday morning. Neighbors said Lanis often walked the dog. That's kind of how we knew him, the guy with the fluffy white dog. Wow, that's unbelievable. And now there's 2 girls without any parents. Ugh, so horrible. And off to another horrible thing. A 13-year-old New Jersey boy was killed Friday night when he was hit by a car while riding his bicycle. The Hightstown police said the accident took place at about 9 p.m. when a car making a left turn from Mercer Street onto West Ward Street hit the boy as he rode across the street. He suffered severe trauma to the body and head and went into cardiac arrest while officers were waiting for emergency personnel. Once they arrived, the teen was taken to Capitol Health Trauma Center in Trenton, and he was pronounced dead at about 10:20 p.m. Oh, that's so sad. His name has not been released, but officials say he was a student at Melvin H. Krebs Middle School. East Windsor Superintendent Mark Daniels said in a letter to the district community that the victim was an 8th grader and said counselors will be available while students return to school on Monday. Police determined the crash was an accident and issued the car's driver, identified as Catherine Wagner, a traffic summons for careless driving. Wow. What a tragedy. Poor family, prayers. Hold on, somebody's calling me. Hang on 1 second, guys. I was on mute. Why didn't you tell me?
She just told me. Somebody just called.
Okay. Was I on? How long was I on mute for?
Time,
Oh boy. This is turning into a nightmare. Okay, let me see. So, what was the last story that you heard? Could someone tell me? This is getting so crazy. What was the last story? Did you hear about the wedding? The brawl at the wedding? A long time, Carolyn. You're on mute. I was on mute the whole time. What is the last story that you heard? I don't know, but you've got to tell me. I don't know since the phone call, because there was no phone call. Did you hear about the wedding? Did you hear about the fight at the wedding? Where they stomped on the guy? The father and son? Yeah. Okay, Marianne Fantini. But does anybody remember what the last story was? Did we finish the bicycle accident, Flo? Did we get through the whole bicycle accident? We didn't get through the whole bicycle accident? Oh, we were on the man. Okay. All right. Let me get back to that. Okay. Hold on. We'll go back. Oh, boy. Okay, so in Michigan, we have a 53-year-old man who shot and killed his wife, their dog, and shot their 25-year-old daughter, but the daughter managed to call 911. And she was so shook up by what happened, she couldn't even tell the operator what the address was. And that forced police to triangulate the location. When they got there, they said that they didn't think that she could feel her legs. She was trying to crawl out. Police arrived and were beginning their investigation when they heard another gunshot, and they moved in that direction only to see the father, the husband, 53-year-old Igor Lanis, come out, and he was shooting at an officer and a deputy, and the officers used deadly force and killed Igor Lanis. The family had another daughter who was living at the home, but she wasn't there Sunday morning. Now, the 56-year-old wife had been shot 4 times in the back with a handgun. The daughter had been shot in the back of the legs. The family dog was shot multiple times with a shotgun. The daughter was also shot with a shotgun. She's reportedly in stable condition after suffering super traumatic injuries to her back and legs. Now, you got 2 girls, no parents anymore because of this. And neighbors said that the father, Igor, often walked the dog. That's kind of how we knew him, the guy with the fluffy white dog, said a neighbor, Victoria Wittenauer. Very sad. It's really sad stuff. And then we go to Fort Wayne, and there was a stabbing incident, and they don't know if it's related or what, but Fort Wayne police officers are investigating after 5 people were stabbed early this morning. Investigators from the Fort Wayne Police Department were called to the area Bass and Hillegas Roads, When they got there, they found 2 men on the side of the road who had been stabbed. They were taken to the hospital. One of them had life-threatening injuries. Police said that in a news release that 2 more men and a woman were taken to the hospital in a personal vehicle with stab wounds. All of them have non-life-threatening injuries. Investigators say it's unclear if these were separate incidents or if all of this happened at this same location. So we don't know about that, but either way, it's not good.
What if I sleep hot?
Or
Now-
cold.
No problem. Sleep up.
A woman went over a waterfall in Kentucky while trying to retrieve her cell phone. The Whitley County Emergency Management said a 36-year-old woman was taking photos at a Cumberland Falls State Park when she dropped her phone in the river Wednesday afternoon, and when she tried to retrieve the phone, she was swept away by the current. We all want to get really close to something so beautiful, but I can see how easily it would be to misjudge how close you are to something like that, said the Cumberland Falls visitor Tanya Scherf. Witnesses called 911 and told dispatchers that a woman had fallen into the river and she went over the waterfall and landed downstream. And when first responders arrived, they found the woman at the bottom of the waterfall. She was able to swim to rescuers and was pulled out of the water. Officials said she was checked out by EMS at the scene, and shockingly, she did not need to be taken to the hospital as she was uninjured. Located in southeastern Kentucky, Cumberland Falls is 68 feet high and 125 feet wide, reaching depths up to 400 feet at the base of the falls. Anthony Christie, the Whitley County Emergency Management Director, credits the woman's ability to swim with saving her life. If she didn't know how to swim, it probably would have been a different outcome. Officials say the woman breached the security gate to get a closer look at the falls, and they are reminding visitors to stay behind the barricade for safety reasons. Visitors who disobey safety rules could be fined. Officials did not say if the woman who went over the falls would be fined. So that is the Cumberland Falls State Park. Let's see what they look like. So let's see, we're looking at something like this. But there's also pictures that look like this. Ah, that's scary. That is scary. Well, at least she's all right. All right. Okay. Let's go to Colorado now. So a Colorado police officer in Arvada was shot and killed early Sunday morning when they were responding with another officer to a large family disturbance in Arvada. Dylan Vagoff was just 27 years old. He was one of 2 Arvada police officers that responded to this incident. And during that incident, they found several people fighting in the street. The initial 2 officers tried to separate several belligerent and uncooperative individuals when a suspect began to fire and shoot a female victim. And this is according to the Arvada Police Department social media post. The officers returned fire, and Vagoff and the suspect were hit. Both Vagoff, the female victim, and the suspect were all transported to a hospital where Vagoff was pronounced dead. The suspect's injuries were not life-threatening, and he remained in police custody while at the hospital, and the female victim is also expected to survive. The police department said that Vagoff was an Arvada native who joined the force in 2019 after serving 6 years in the U.S. Air Force. This is a tragic loss to this community, to this department, but most significantly, to his family and loved ones. His service and sacrifice will never be forgotten. Wow. Yeah. Prayers for him and his family. It's so sad. Okay. And then I think we were here. No, we went here first. Okay, hold on. Okay, this is a father and a son. They have different names. Joel O'Grady is this man right here. He's 38 years old. And this is Julian Falkenberg. He's 21. So that would make them have a 17-year age difference as father and son. Well, they also have a criminal history together. Not just for what you're about to hear, but they do have a criminal history that they share. They beat a man at a wedding reception, okay? Brutally beat a man who was 36 years old, named Tyler Kaltenbach. And the wedding reception was in Granville Farms in Lake Helen. And that happened on September 3rd. And in the parking lot, some kind of a fight broke out. And these 3 men were fighting. And Kaltenbach ended up on the ground. And he was unresponsive. But that did not stop these 2 from stomping on him, kicking him repeatedly, even when he was unresponsive. And Kaltenbach had severe wounds to his head and face. But then these 2 beat it out of there. They fled the scene before the deputies arrived. Kaltenbach's taken to the hospital for treatment, and he remains in serious condition. On Saturday night, the sheriff's office said they located these 2 right here in Daytona Beach, and they arrested them. O'Grady, the father, already posted a $100,000 bond and was released overnight. Falkenberg, the son, was released Saturday afternoon after he posted a $50,000 bond, and they both have been ordered to have no contact with the victim, Kaltenbach. Investigators have not said what prompted the fight, but they did say that the father and the son have a violent criminal history. This isn't like a punch. This is the guy goes down and then you stomp on him until he's unconscious, Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood said. This could have easily been a murder. Someone could have ended up with significant brain damage. Sarah Howweller is the attorney for the Kaltenbach's family, and she said that Mr. Kaltenbach's recovery will be a long one that will include facial reconstruction surgery, and said that dental work is going to be extensive, that all of his upper teeth were kicked out of his mouth and many of his lower teeth were kicked out. So terrible, isn't it? That's like ridiculous. What makes you do something like that? With your son, no less. Okay. So then we go to Texas. A Texas high school teacher has been fired for allegedly defending pedophile during a class debate on the topic, although she reportedly clarified that she does not condone sexual relations with minors. Last week, a student recorded Franklin High School English teacher Amber Parker when she told students to refer to P's as minor attracted persons. Don't judge people just because they want to have relations with 5-year-olds. Parker can be heard saying in the recording, according to the newspaper. And after the student posted the recording on social media, the El Paso Independent School District Board of Trustees on Tuesday voted unanimously to terminate Parker's employment. Amber Parker has reportedly said the comments were taken out of context and that she made it clear to students that she does not condone peace. Board trustee Daniel Call initially said that Amber Parker was pretending to advocate a position she didn't actually believe in to challenge the students in preparation for them reading the book The Crucible. But Call told the television station after the vote that there were more things that the public may not know that were included on those closed findings, and said any reasonable person that heard what the 7 trustees heard would have voted to terminate Amber Parker. Amber Parker may appeal the board's decision, but she told the media that she is prohibited by law from commenting on the matter. Now, the teacher's husband, Jason Parker, wrote on Call's Facebook page that his wife is an innocent woman. And he wrote this, and I quote, "It is both scary and disturbing that an edited 18-second clip could destroy a 30-year career when taken completely out of context," Jason Parker wrote on Facebook. She is exemplary as a teacher and truly cares about the students. Needless to say, we have spent many sleepless nights because of this cruel release to social media of the 18 seconds. I think that's where we were when we were there, right? Okay. So let's go to Mr. Murdaugh. Mr. Murdaugh. Two men who are cousins to some of the Walterboro Cowboys, a violent Bloods-affiliated street gang that originated in the so-called east side of this small city right off of I-95, are the latest characters that are dragged into the notorious Murdaugh murder mystery. And one said he's being railroaded. Meanwhile, one member of the gang told the New York Post that Alex Murdaugh runs half the drugs in this county. This just gets more bizarre and more bizarre, right? Last month, the state grand jury indicted 2 local men who several cowboy gang members told the New York Post are their cousins or close friends. On the same day, it levied yet another indictment as Murdaugh, who was arrested in July for the murders of his wife and son at the family's hunting lodge in June of 2021. Cowboy cousins Jerry Rivers, 39, and his friend Spencer Anwan Roberts, 34, were indicted on August 19th on charges that prosecutors say possibly being part of Murdaugh's alleged drug and money laundering pipeline in the Low Country. And that's where we were. We could have been investigating this and talking to locals about it. We did drive past Maggie Murdaugh's house. Murdaugh now faces a total of 90 charges of financial wrongdoing, including recent allegations that he was involved in a drug distribution and money laundering across several counties here. Locals speculate that Murdaugh's alleged drug operation was bigger than anyone realizes. A Charleston law enforcement source familiar with the case said that Cowboys gang and other local criminals, with their proximity to I-95, long a conduit for drugs and guns, run from Miami to New York. It may play a bigger role than anyone on the South Carolina coast knows. Now, isn't that funny? So most people take that I-95 going down. Now imagine people are live on that people have webcams or they're live. Maybe they are catching very important information there, if that truly is the pipeline there. There's still a lot more to come out and a lot more surprises, the source said, that they would bet their life on it. South Carolina Assistant Attorney General Creighton Waters said in court that money misappropriated by Alex Murdaugh went through his alleged accomplice, Waterboro resident Curtis Cousin Eddie Smith, 62, who's in jail after being indicted with Murdaugh in late June on sweeping drug and conspiracy charges. From Smith, the AG said the money continued downstream to Rivers and then to Roberts. "I ain't done nothing," Rivers told the Post last week while sitting on his porch wearing an ankle monitor after having to post a $150,000 bond. "I've been railroaded," he said. Spencer Roberts' attorney Mark Pepper said the charges against the two men appear to be trumped up by prosecutors who are grasping at straws. "They don't have enough to get Murdaugh on the murders," he said. "They're desperate. They are trying to get Cousin Eddie to talk more or for Alex to talk more. They're trying to send a message, but it's ridiculous." Rivers, who lives across the street from Kyrie Broughton, the leader of the Waterboro Cowboys, who was sentenced to prison in 2017 with 7 associates, served time at the federal prison in nearby Estelle on 2012 cocaine trafficking charges, but claims he's gone straight. He was first subpoenaed in November and was arrested along with Roberts, who also has a criminal history, at a nearby gambling joint last month. Roberts was not at home when the Post went to his address last week. Rivers was nailed on an obstruction of justice charge for taking Roberts' phone during the arrest, and when asked to return it, admittedly gave the cops a fake phone. "It's bleep," one cowboy gang member said, with the letters cow for cowboy tattooed across his throat. He was on a rundown deck of a modular home a block from Rivers' house. He did not want to say his name, and he did not want it published, as he was recently released from prison. They, the cops, want to get the cowboy's name in there to muddy the water of the Murdaugh case and get everyone to think we done killed these people. The man said, "Maybe look at some of those corrupt white sheriffs here instead." The former Colleton County Sheriff Andy Strickland was in charge at the time Broughton and 7 other cowboys were arrested and sentenced to prison, but 3 years after, Strickland himself was accused of selling illegal drugs. Prosecutors agreed to a plea deal, but that meant that Strickland got 5 years probation. "I'm going to tell you something," another man at the gang member's house said. "Alex Murdaugh is running half the drugs in this county." The introduction of the Waterboro Cowboys' cousins is the latest twist in a drama that kicked off June 21st of 2021 when Alex Murdaugh, the scion of one of the most prominent legal families in the state, called 911 to say that his wife, Maggie, 52 years old, and his son, Paul, 22 years old, had been murdered at the family's 1,700-acre hunting lodge in Islandon, South Carolina. Smith, also known as Cousin Eddie, a distant cousin of Murdaugh's, entered the picture on Labor Day last year when he was arrested for supposedly trying to shoot Murdaugh on a rural road in Hampton County in a convoluted insurance fraud suicide for hire scam. Murdaugh's attorney later claimed his client had a 20-year opioid addiction and that Smith was his drug dealer. And this is Curtis, Cousin Eddie Smith. But Murdaugh and Smith were allegedly part of a bigger operation. In June, Murdaugh and Smith were indicted on conspiracy and drug charges that alleged that Smith received at least 437 checks, totaling $2,450,000 $413,754.79 from Murdaugh between 2013 and 2021. It's alleged that Smith converted them into cash in a scheme to benefit Murdaugh as one of the myriad of unlawful activities. The investigation into Murdaugh so far totals 18 indictments containing 90 charges that involve schemes to defraud victims of over $8 million. Almost $9 million. Okay, among the many locals that Alex Murdaugh allegedly swindled in insurance settlement scams were the sons of Gloria Satterfield, his family's housekeeper. She died in a mysterious fall in 2018 at the Murdaugh's home, and a deaf black man who ended up as a quadriplegic after a car accident. The murder trial won't start until January at the earliest, but courtroom mudslinging has already started, with lawyers complaining that they've been ambushed by leaks to the media, including allegations that video from Paul Murdaugh's cell phone shows his father present with him and Maggie not long before the murders. Murdaugh may be found guilty of the murders, but a number of his friends and business associations could go down with him for financial misdeeds, even if many didn't fully understand what they were getting into. A lot of good people are going to go down with Alex Murdaugh, said Hampton County source familiar with certain aspects of the investigation. A lot of them had no idea what he was really into, and they got involved with him in small ways that could really end up hurting them. Lisa Smith of Walterboro, who used to be married to Smith's brother Bill Ray, said Cousin Eddie was a hard-working logger and a good guy until he was injured on the job, and then he developed a painkiller addiction, and then he just started changing. Lisa said, we also thought it was really strange when Eddie showed up at a relative's funeral some years ago with Alex Murdaugh. We were like, what's that about? Why are these two together? What are they doing together? Now we know. But Lisa said she knew something was going on with Smith when he began coming into the bank where she worked in Walterboro to cash big checks that he never deposited into his account in Walterboro. And I know that now because Linda kept telling me to go to the Walmart over there. I couldn't cash them because I was kin, she said. But I asked him, what are you doing? Where is this money coming from? And he never answered. I think Murdaugh took advantage of the fact that Smith got hurt and couldn't work and got him involved in all of this. She's like a number of the other residents of Colleton and Hampton counties interviewed by the New York Post last week, wonder if Alex Murdaugh's alleged drug running could involve smuggling by the sea as well. Oh my goodness. That theory comes from intel that first surfaced on a web sleuth forum in the weeks following the murders of Maggie and Paul, indicating that Murdaugh had a decades-long friendship with a Beaufort-based fisherman called Barrett T. Boulware. Now, he was arrested with his dad, and that was for drug smuggling charges back in the 1980s. In that case, the authorities seized 15 tons of Mary Jane on a shrimp boat out in the Bahamas. The charges against the Boulwares were dropped in 1983 after a key government witness was killed when he stepped in front of a car in Florida. He was killed when he stepped in front of a car in Florida. In January, state investigators that were looking into Murdaugh's financial and legal misconduct began delving into the relationship between him and Boulware, who owned Mazel. That's the hunting lodge where Maggie and Paul were killed before selling it to Murdaugh in 2009. Speculation about the pair's relationship intensified after Fitz News combed through the Beaufort public records that showed Murdaugh and Boulware, who died in 2018, co-owned several odd properties along the waterways of St. Helena Island, including tiny lots of land ideal for drug smuggling lookouts or or offloading locations. It reminded some here of the legendary Operation Jackpot, which include gentlemen smugglers from South Carolina accused of smuggling 347,000 pounds of marijuana and 130,000 pounds of hashish into the U.S. through the marshy channels and inlets of the coast from 1983 to 1986. Now, isn't this funny? The last time we went on a little trip, there was a flying squirrel ring that was originating up through Georgia, up through Chicago. Now we go down there, and now there's this huge thing going up here. It's crazy. But several St. Helena Islands locals say that drug smuggling there is a thing of the past. Scott Sanders, who's 64 and used to be a tomato farmer and a shrimp boat owner, has been a real estate agent on St. Helena's Island for 23 years, and he lives at the end of a long dirt road in what is called Land's End on the island. He said Bulware, as well as some of the smugglers from Operation Jackpot. Access to the islands, which are sometimes referred to as fish camps, is only possible by boat, he said. I knew Barrett. He was a real opportunist, Sanders said, the post outside his home last week. He was a fisherman and an entrepreneur, I guess you could say, but I don't think he and Murdaugh were doing any drug smuggling. Those days have been over for a long time. You don't need to import bales of marijuana anymore. You can just buy it from Colorado. Sanders said Murdaugh and Bulware were likely amassing the land in hopes of one day selling it back to the government as a profit. The Charleston law enforcement sources say that he believes Murdaugh's drug operation, if it does exist, is concentrated more inland in Hampton and Colleton counties. Murdaugh's being held on a $7 million bond on the murder charges in the Alvin S. Glenn Detention Center outside of Columbia. The whereabouts of his only surviving son, Buster, age 26, are unknown. An acquaintance of the family in Hampton said that Buster has been staying with friends in North Carolina and St. Croix. It gets more like a season of Ozark every day, said Smith's son-in-law, Sean Poole. We try to stay the hell away from all of it. Wow, that is just crazy, isn't it? That is crazy, 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 crazy. Okay, so Elizabeth Holmes. Let me get this up here. Hang on 1 second. You know Elizabeth Holmes, right? Remember the documentary on her? Right there. Okay, Elizabeth Holmes. She's the founder, fraudster of Theranos. She made a flurry of attempts this week to get a new trial, and it's said to have multiple goals, and one of those court motions stands a good chance of delaying the start of her expected prison sentence. The clock is ticking for Miss Holmes on her liberty, said Stephen Clark, who's a legal analyst for the Santa Clara County prosecutor. With her sentencing next month expected to result in a multi-year prison term, Elizabeth Holmes this week filed 3 motions in U.S. District Court in San Jose, asking Judge Edward Davila to toss the jury's 4-count guilty verdict in her felony fraud case and order a new trial. Those filings, one Tuesday and 2 Wednesday, came after Davila last week nixed Elizabeth Holmes' earlier attempts to toss the verdict for good without a new trial. The goal is to keep her out of jail forever, said criminal defense lawyer Carrie Cohen, who has been following the case from New York. The secondary goal is to put it off as long as possible. Even if none of the three motions gets her a new trial, all could bolster her inevitable appeal, and one could delay her October 17 sentencing. No hearing date on the motions has been set. Both sides have agreed to file arguments later this month. In January, a jury found Holmes guilty on 4 counts of defrauding investors of the now defunct Palo Alto blood testing startup she founded in 2003 at the age of 19. The company Theranos went under in 2018 after the charismatic Holmes and her former lover, the firm's chief operating officer, Sunny Balwani, were charged with fraud. The case attracted worldwide attention and has spawned 3 documentaries, a TV series, a best-selling book, and an upcoming movie starring Jennifer Lawrence as Elizabeth Holmes. Balwani was found guilty in July on a dozen fraud counts. Holmes' first motion Wednesday, claiming federal prosecutors used arguments in Balwani's trial that would have led jurors in her trial to acquit her, could be counterproductive. There is no former legal error in presenting arguably inconsistent evidence or a characterization of defendants in separate subsequent trials. As a general matter, each conviction stands on its own. I could imagine Davila, the judge, being annoyed by this. However, Davila, who presided over Holmes' 4-month trial, is likely to take seriously the second motion that Elizabeth Holmes' legal team filed on Wednesday. Her lawyers claim the prosecution broke the Brady Rule, legally requiring prosecutors to hand over information helpful to the accused. Holmes' prosecutors hid emails showing they failed to preserve a database of patient test results, her team alleged. The database issue, after hours of pretrial squabbling over who was responsible for disappearing data and whether it showed or disproved fraud, did not rise to prominence in Holmes' trial. And although the motion might not sway Davila, the allegation that the prosecution concealed important information could play better on in an appeal. Brady violations are something that the appellate courts do not like. Still, it's Elizabeth Holmes' motion filed on Tuesday claims a key prosecution witness showed up at her home that could offer her more immediate hope, say legal experts. Former Theranos lab director Dr. Adam Rosendorf, who told Holmes' jury that the company valued PR and fundraising over patient care and that he had felt a moral obligation to go public about inaccurate test results. He rang Holmes' doorbell last month, appearing desperate and disheveled, pleading to speak to Holmes, according to a declaration by Holmes' partner, Billy Evans. He said he wants to help her, said Evans, the father of Holmes' 1-year-old son, in the declaration. He said he feels guilty. He said he felt like he had done something wrong. Rosendorf, according to the declaration, told Evans that on the witness stand he tried to answer the questions honestly, but that the prosecutors tried to make everybody in the company look bad, and the prosecutors made things even worse than they were. Former prosecutor Clark called the motion a very bizarre development, adding, I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that in my career of 35 years. Legal experts agreed Rosendorf's purported statements are likely to compel Davila to hear that the former lab director, but the outcome is far from certain. It is not uncommon for witnesses to feel badly for testifying against someone they know. It's not clear to me if he's just saying he gave false testimony or that the government pressured him in a way to give false testimony. It's very concerning that Rosendorf is now expressing remorse about his testimony, Clark said, but the question will be, does Dr. Rosendorf have some remorse about his testimony, but whether his testimony was inaccurate or incomplete in part because of the government pressuring him? A hearing will require considerable preparation from both sides on the case, and that would likely delay Ms. Holmes' sentencing. So is that what she's after all along? I don't know, right? see. Hang on a minute. So in LA, the LAPD are investigating the theft of 9 French Bulldogs who were stolen Sunday in Northridge. The theft at a residence in the 9400 block of Corbin Avenue happened at around 3 p.m. The victim, whose dogs were stolen, told police he left the dogs at the location that was being watched by a friend. And while he was gone, his friend said 2 suspects wearing ski masks came to the residence and stole the puppies. One suspect was described to police as a Hispanic male, about 5'8", weighing about 180 pounds. He was wearing a black ski mask, purple shirt, and black pants. The second spoke Spanish during the theft. He was described as a male Hispanic, 5'10", and estimated at 150 pounds. He was wearing a black ski mask. The person watching the dogs was not reported to have been injured in the theft. Anyone with information on the dogs will be asked to call the LAPD's Devonshire Division at 818-832-0633 or the department's 24/7 tip line. So if you know anybody that just got a French Bulldog in that area, or if you see French Bulldogs being sold cheap or whatever, and you live in that area, it might be that. Okay. I think those are the actual puppies. Dogs were taken about 3 p.m. I wonder if those dogs had been advertised. Right? How did they know where those dogs were? You wonder, Janae? Well, I could tell you. Let's see. Let's see. Let's go on the AKC site. Why can't I? Are they not AKC? Well, they are. How come it doesn't tell you to find puppies? It's saying wait. Wait. Well, look at that. There were just 7 stolen in July. 7 French Bulldog puppies were stolen from Long Island home while owner sleeps. A heartless burglar stole 7 French Bulldogs from a Long Island home on Sunday while the puppies' owner slept in Suffolk County. 5 1-month-old pooches and 2 6-month-olds were snatched from a detached building at a home in Concord Road in Shirley around 3:15 a.m., cops say. The owner of the house did not wake up. Thieves target the pricey, pointy-eared pups in hopes of a quick buck on the black market. Last month, a 29-year-old woman managed to keep hold of her French Bulldog when a man grabbed the pup's leash outside a lower Manhattan building. She won the terrifying game of tug and war after the suspect followed her and the dog through a revolving glass door of a building on Broadway near Rector Street in the financial district on June 21st. Authorities asked anyone with information about the Long Island crime to contact Crime Stoppers 800-222-TIPS. Very strange. So where are these puppies being sold? Well, there's some fraudulent websites, but I don't think that they even have dogs on those websites. I think they just get people to leave deposits and then they never get a dog. So if you go to somewhere like, let's see here. I don't understand what the why these dogs are, $5,000. I don't really understand that. Is it just because there are not many people breeding them, or what's the deal? What's the deal with them? Why? I just don't get this. Because there's ones like, Puppy Spot has dogs up there, but they're usually much higher price than anything. I don't know. Let's look at where are stolen puppies sold. Where are stolen puppies sold? Let's see. Where have all the stolen dogs gone? It says Alfred, let's see here. So, the rise of dog napping, the sky-high prices for purebreds has led to, pet scams and predatory leases and violent robberies. I don't know. The scams I know about, those have been going on a long, long time. But I don't know. It's a shame. Okay, let me get back. Let me try to start the Zoom up again because there's something wrong. I'm going to close this and try to start Zoom again. It doesn't want to let me do the Zoom. Don't get upset. It's a black screen right now because I'm trying to start the Zoom. I'm going to have to, hold on a minute. Control Alt Delete. Get a task manager and try to get Zoom going here because Zoom doesn't want to shut down. And Zoom is not responding. So I'm going to end the task. And then I'm going to try it again. Oh, come on, Zoom. Let's go. It's being weird. Why is it being weird? If you guys are still in Zoom, I don't know if for some reason it still has you in there. You guys have to get out of there because I can't open a new Zoom. You guys have to abandon the meeting if you're in there because I can't get in. So I go to start a meeting and it's just black. And there's nothing that I can do. So if you guys are still in the meeting, for some reason, if it still has you guys in the meeting, you've got to abandon it. Because I can't get back in. See? You guys are still in because it's saying leave and join. You will have to leave this meeting. See? Leave and join. This is so weird. Thought he just said it's 4 o'clock. It's freaking 1 o'clock. I think I'm going to have to reinstall Zoom because it's not working. It will not work properly. I'm going to uninstall it and reinstall it. Just to bear with me, I'm going to uninstall and reinstall. It just will not work. Something happened when you guys broke the Zoom meeting. You guys broke the Zoom meeting. You guys broke the Zoom. You guys broke the Zoom. Okay, I have to reinstall Zoom. So, go to Zoom. All right. What do you do? See? We detected an unusual login from a device or location you don't usually use or have not used in a while. Uh-oh, who was trying to go into my Zoom? Naughty, naughty. Okay, let me see here. So they sent me a code. Let me get it. I don't know where it is now. I don't know where the Zoom link is now. Oh, here we are. Come on, let me see this now. Okay. Don't Zoom alone. All right. Never alone. All right, let's go now. Let me go and launch the Zoom now. I want to launch a meeting, guys. Where's the Zoom? Oh, I have to download. I didn't download. Sorry, guys. I'm making my way to the download center. I'm making my way to the download center. And I am where were you downloading? Okay. The installation was successful. Thank you. I don't want to join a meeting. I want to make a meeting. Thank you. Zoom, Zoom. Where's my thingy? Where's my Zoom client thingy? Oh, that's why. Gotta sign in. Gotta sign in. Gotta sign in. Okay, now where's my picture? I've got Zoom, but it's not, doesn't have my picture. Okay. Let's go and see why not. You better swipe up. Okay, so now, what the freak? Okay, where's my video? Rusty. Video. No. Come on, come on. Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys. Now this is all messed up. It does. Zoom doesn't want to. That's it. We're not gonna have Zoom anymore. It doesn't want to play tonight. I don't know if it's a glitch all around. It doesn't want to play. It will not let me start. It will not let me do anything. I'm going to try again. It's opening to a black screen, which is never done. Okay, I'm going to close a bunch of screens. Okay. Now, check my text. Mike sent one to you for the napkins and the shells. Oh, Mike, you're Mike. What? But why didn't he just do the PayPal? He didn't get the PayPal? Okay, hang on. He didn't get the PayPal. Wait, I've got to fix the Zoom first. Let me try to fix the Zoom first, okay? Special offer. Okay. Oh my gosh. I'm going to cry. What is wrong with this? What is going on here? Let me get rid of this. Close that. Close it. There's something wrong with my Zoom. You guys broke my Zoom. Oh, come on. True Crime Club, you're seeing the blue screen because my Zoom is not working right now, which I'm trying to fix. I'm trying to fix it. It was the dolly. The dolly? What, Robbity Bob? What dolly? The dolly broke the screen? Okay, I'm going to try to open up Zoom again. I just shut it down. I'm opening it back up. I'm going to go into the settings. Come on. I'm going to go into the video settings. Into the video settings. Something's up with it. I'm going to uninstall it again and reinstall it. Uninstall. Hold on here. To uninstall the program. Let's go to Zoom. Zoom. Come on, give it a try. Bye. We're gonna uninstall you now because you're not being good. Okay, we're uninstalling now. And then we'll reinstall. Just hang on with me, please. Okay, so now we've uninstalled it. Now I'm going to go reinstall it. Let's see. Come on. Okay, it's initializing and it's installing. Okay. Now it says you are on blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Sign in. Let me sign in. Signing in. Okay. Now, join. Okay, but now that's great, but I'm not connected with my camera for some reason. It's not right. So now I'm going to go to video and I'm going to take, well, why do we see? It's going to do it again. It's not going to let me change my camera. It's bizarre. And now it's going to freak out again. I think I'm going to have to just does not, it just restarted the program and now it's going to go blank again. I think I have to restart the whole computer even though everything just restarted before this live. Something freaking happened to the Zoom. Go into settings and it just won't even. Okay. So it keeps telling me I already have a Zoom meeting on. End other meeting. Okay, and now again, it's going to tell me that I can't start my camera. Now let me just try something else. Okay, I'm going to have to stop Streamlabs. I'm going to come back.